This is going to be Mr. Nate, CLP content creator out of Cincinnati. How's it going, Nate?
Good. How you doing today, Bart?
All right, Nate. So is this your normal, was this a 5-10 game or a 2-5 game or what?
This is a 2-5 game, and it's a private game though.
Okay, so
Been playing some private games.
2-5 private. And how deep are you guys?
I'm 2250 effective with big blind
Okay.
and 1250 effective with cutoffs.
So 1250 with cutoff and 22 with big blind. Okay.
All right, and I have Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, and +1.
All right. So here with Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, and +1, I assume you open.
Yeah, I opened a 20 and hijack, cutoff, and big blind call.
Open to 20, hijack, cutoff, and big blind call.
Yes.
All right. So looks like 20, 40, 60, $80. By the way, I don't know if this is true, but the person that said this to me, I don't know why they would be making it up. I don't know if it was Mike that said, maybe it was Mike G. You know, Skolansky and Mason Malmuth put out a book like Small Stakes, No Limit, Hold'em, like a print book, like from their old, well, I guess they don't own 2+2 anymore, but I think Mike G was telling me about how they advocate limping in with aces, kings, and ace king to limp re-raise. Obviously, I knew
Really?
you were not. I know, isn't that shocking, Nate?
Yes, that is very simple.
All right, so $80 here to the flop. Okay.
All right, so on the flop, we get King of Diamonds, Eight of Hearts, Five of Spades.
King of Diamonds, Eight of Hearts, Five of Spades. Okay.
All right, and big blind checks. I bet 30 into 80.
Okay.
Hijack folds, cutoff calls, and big blind check raises to $75.
What? Check raise to $75?
Yes.
Well, it's a rainbow board, but boy, that is very, very small. So you go 30, cutoff calls, big blind check raises to 75. Now, I usually say that a lot of times when you see a very, very small check raises, they're indicative of kind of like weak top pairish types of hands. But the higher the highest card is, the less you'll see this. Like you would see it more with like a 10 or a jack high board where people feel like they need protection. This would be kind of strange, I would think, to see from like a king, jack, king, queen. And why is he making it so small? Is this guy a fish or something in the big blind? This is definitely very non-standard.
Yeah, so this guy's kind of weird because he's a little bit actiony, but he makes some all right plays at times. So he's definitely not like the greatest, but obviously this raise is like just kind of a bullshit raise, right?
Like, what do you think this raise represents?
I think he's going to try to check the turn and let it go check a lot, in my opinion.
But there's two other people in the hand though, right?
I know, which makes it even like more confusing. So,
I mean, I kind of want to, I definitely can see merits for like a bet 3-bet. The only thing is that what would be going through my head here is, well, you don't really want to drive a king out with whether that cutoff has that or the big blind has that. So if you 3-bet, could you be in a little bit of a way ahead, way behind situation? I think that argument has more merit if it was a more standard check raise. Like if you went to 125, I'm sure you're just going to call, right? What's going on, guys? It's that time of year again. It is Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and Crush Live Poker is once again offering a deep discount this year on all plan levels, even the elite yearly plan, even the discounted elite yearly plan. If you sign up with the link below, you'll get 35% off of that one as well. And it is for life. As long as you keep the plan active, you will continue to get 35% off. It's really too good to beat. Check it out. Click on the link in the description for your chance to access this great deal.
right, 100%.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, do we 3-bet this more with cutoff calling or if it's heads up?
That is an interesting one because the board's not really draw heavy. I mean, it's not really all that draw heavy. And I kind of feel like I would do more 3-betting here heads up than multi-way for the reasons why I stated. Like, you don't want to, first of all, if you do it multi-way, I think you look stronger. Unless you think that there's a dynamic where you look like full of shit, then things sort of go the opposite. I don't know what the cutoff sort of flop calling range here. It should be rather tight with a guy behind him. And it's just like one of these things where if you do three bet, I mean, you've got a pretty good lead here over a king and you sort of know where you're at, especially both guys, might have a king. So I do this a lot. I think I do it a lot more heads up where the raise is more indicative to be sort of top pair and there's less of a chance. Like if a guy check raises here heads up with top pair and you sort of click back a three bet, the chances of him folding, I feel like, are much less than if it's multi-way where you look stronger. And then you've got this guy behind you here too, where, he might have a king and then fold out. Now, obviously, you're kind of in the dark a little bit if you just call because it's always going to bring the other guy in behind you and then you might get some dicey turn cards.
Right. So, like, that's what I was thinking about. I actually raised here to 225, mainly because I didn't want to be stuck in the middle.
So you did three bet.
Yes.
Yeah, I probably do more flatting here. I do more flatting here, especially three ways. But unlike the chat, where some people are like, I would never three bet here this deep, I would have a very high frequency of three betting if heads up. If heads up.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
So you three bet to 225, okay.
Yeah, and then cut off cold calls the three bet.
That's
and plus one comes in.
And plus one, so plus and the big blind calls.
I mean,
right?
big blind. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm plus one.
Wow. That is, and this is really so. You get into this. The easiest thing that I tell people who sort of play, who are new in No Limit, is like you never want to get into a situation where obviously you're way ahead, way behind. What is way ahead, way behind is making a bet or a raise where when you're called, you're like, oh shit, like I could be beat here, right? That's a mistake. But this is different though, and I always put this wrinkle in. We can expect the cutoff to do a ton of folding here. Like you're three betting to sort of ISO the big blind. So if the big blind calls, it's not necessarily way ahead, way behind. However, you have this weird thing going on here now that the cutoff calls, you actually might be behind. It's akin to if somebody led into you and you decided to raise with an overpair or something like that with a guy behind you, and then some tight guy like cold called, like say the board was like 9-8 deuce and you had kings and a guy let out of the blind like a big fish and you're like, he's going to call my raise. So I raise him. And then some like OMC nit behind you flat calls the raise. And you're like, oh shit, I'm beat. But that wasn't but the plan was that like you were isolating the initial guy. So it's not, just so now this guy cold calls behind. So, well, he didn't cold call, but he called behind. So things have changed here. But what you did is not illogical and it's not therefore way ahead, way behind. It's just this guy came along. We weren't expecting that,
Correct. And so it's fair to say we're much more concerned about the cutoff than.
I would be. I mean, again, I had said though too, were there merits to three bet because maybe the cutoff just is never going to fold a king because he thinks you're full of shit because you're like making a play at this BS raise size, But I think even on a brick though, you might feel the need to check. Like say the turn's a deuce, maybe, and it gets checked to you. I don't know. I mean, you could use small sizing, but I think there might be merits to check too as well to sort of see what the cutoff is going to do in a given spot. It's interesting. I mean, the other draws that are out here would be what, like 6, 7 or something like that. I mean,
yeah,
that's the only one that's open ended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. So you put in. So everybody puts in 675. So it looks like it's what, 755 here?
855.
855. Is that right? Yeah.
No. It's 755.
755.
You're right.
Yeah, 755. Okay. Yep.
All right. So 755 going into the turn, and we get a great card, which is the Ace of Spades.
Oh man. So let me ask you this question then. So the Ace of Spades comes. What would you have done on a brick?
I believe I'm checking here.
Like you're checking a deuce or something?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think he can have like sets that he's just cold calling with two pair.
Yeah. Two.
Cutoff can be pretty wide.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a very awkward spot to be in if a brick comes on the turn. I might check and see what's going on. But now you've obviously hit gin, right?
Right, right. And big blind checks to me. And at this point,
Right.
I'm trying to find a size that I can get them both to call again, and also figuring out what we're setting up on the river.
Yeah, I mean, a tricky way to play this, although I don't know how often I would do this, for the same reasons that we were going to check the turn because that cutoff is so strong. Do you ever check the turn here and go for a check raise this deep? Now, if the cutoff just has a king, he's just going to check it through. The only question I have here, sometimes you have to do weird things to manipulate pot size when you're sort of super deep, but it looks like you can probably get a bunch of money in anyway. So there's nothing wrong with betting. I'm just sort of thinking out loud about, well, the cutoff's going to bet sets, right, on the turn anyways. Do you get more money in by trying to go for a check raise on the turn?
Right, that makes sense. It really didn't cross my mind. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Well, yeah, I
So,
mean, if he's going to just fold out a king when you bet here again, and he's going to bet off his sets. I mean, the two bad parts of that is he could take a free card if he has 6-7, and then your check raise on turn if he respects you as a player. I don't know. I mean, if a guy could be capable of folding a set, that would suck if you check raised him. But
right,
yeah.
right, right.
All right. So the big blind checks.
All right, and I go 475.
Hero bets 475. I'm just trying to. So if cutoff calls here, you've put in like 950. Pot will be like 1700. You guys will have like 1400 or so. If the cutoff just calls. I'm just trying to do some math out in my head. I think.
Yeah,
950.
correct.
I might have actually gone a little bit larger then to try to get more money in the pot. Because if the guy has a set here, he's not folding. So if you go 600 and he calls, I'm talking about the cutoff, pot then would be like 2055 and you guys have put in right around 900 and then it leaves you with like 1300. That would be my only thing is I might go larger here. I might bet 550 to 6.
So in my mind, I was debating between going larger and going a little bit smaller because of the ace peeling out and how that affects like King X calling. Um, and I might only get calls from King X of spades at this point. So I can definitely see merit for going larger.
King
For
X of
sure.
spades is definitely something that you have to watch out for now too, right? Because the
Yeah,
king is not a
100%.
spade. All right, so you go 475.
Yeah, and they both call.
Off and big blind call. What is going on here with this hand?
I don't know.
So 1350, you guys put in, or 950, 13, 14, 1425,
1425.
1425. So pot is like
2180.
2180, 2180. And then the big blind doesn't have much left. And the cutoff, you're about 1400, 2/3 with the cutoff, way less than the big blind only has, what, like 400 left or
500.
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I would be scared of. Here is a spade for sure, right? What we talked
Right.
about.
Okay. Yeah, correct. Like King X of spades is heavily represented, I think.
You would think so,
So,
yeah.
all right. So, we go to the river, 2180, and we get the nine of spades.
Wow, that's a bad card.
I don't think there's a worse card in the deck, is there?
Well, I mean, four spades, same difference. So let's go back over this again. Nate has ace, ace. Nate, CLP content creator, puts out great material. Did the whole Solve for Live module over in Fast Track where you worked what you thought live ranges were and did live note locking in a solver. Raises it up here to ace with aces from +1, gets 3 callers, king 8-5. He bets 30 into 70, 30 into 80. Cutoff calls. Big blind makes a really weird check raise. Nate 3 bets, then the cutoff calls behind, and the big blind calls. So there's a 3 bet on the flop on king 8-5, 755, turns the ace of spades. Nate binks top set, check 475, both call. So it's 2180, and now the backdoor spade comes in here with the 9 of spades, and 6-7 comes in. Oof. Okay.
All right. So when the 9 of spades comes, big blind looks at the board, looks at me, and just says, "I'm all in."
For how much?
For about 1500, like 1530 maybe.
Wait a minute. Because the big blind is the big blind is the one it's the cutoff. I sort of misspoke. It's the big blind is the one that's got the money. The cutoff is the one that's only got 400. So big, and the weird thing is that the cutoff is so short, you would think he would jam on the turn with a set, right?
Yeah, I was surprised he called and left money behind like that.
Oh my God. Yeah, because I had the effective stacks a little confused. So big blind moves all in for just under 1500 or so, 1400?
Yeah, I think he has 1530. It's right around 1500.
1500. And the fact that the cutoff, who was the one that short, didn't jam the turn with like only 400 or 500 left here, I think even skews him more towards a draw. So now this guy is jamming from up front for 1500. You've got the cutoff behind you. You got to beat two people. I think I might fold here. That sucks.
Right. And so my biggest question here is, when cutoff doesn't jam, in my mind, it puts him on King X of spades more than anything.
Right.
So if he has King X of spades, what is big blind jamming? And can we make the extra 1,000 on the side to recoup some losses?
So you think that the cutoff is so skewed towards King X of spades, you don't know what this guy is jamming with here after he check raise flop?
Right. I mean, correct. Like, there's a couple of things I can think of, but it's weird.
And the guy only has 500 behind, so if you beat him, you win 1,000 on the side because it's really only putting in 500. That's kind of a complex one. So you might call 1,500 to win 1,000, but you're losing. Well, yeah, you're calling 1,500. You would still
calling
be
1,500 to win like 500 profit. Basically.
500 profit, right? Because he only has 5. Well, you got to be correct a lot there, then, right? Laying 1 to 3, if that was the scenario.
For sure.
Wow. Let me ask you this question. I mean, I think I might fold. Let me ask you this question, because when you had told me this hand, I had it in my head that the players were sort of opposite with their stack sizes. Say the big blind was short and he jammed for 500, and then you have the cutoff behind you who has 1,500. Do you make that call then because you think the cutoff is skewed more towards, because he could be skewed towards having sets just because you were so deep?
Well, I mean, at that point,
there's so much money to
call. Yeah. If we just call big blind's 500, cutoff can just call, so there's no extra money behind.
Right.
So we would like have to jam, which I don't think I'd jam. That would be kind of suicide.
No, maybe. I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just a call to try to rope him in. But this spot sucks. I think you just fold.
Yeah. So I did just fold.
Yeah.
And cutoff snaps it off.
Cutoff snaps it off. Okay.
Yeah, he just quickly puts his 500 in there.
Uh-huh.
And big blind turns over 7-6 of clubs.
Wow, so he's got the 7-6, okay. And the cutoff must have a flush, right?
Cutoff turn shows the king of spades and folds and mucks.
What?
Yes.
Shows the king of spades and mucks.
Yeah. I 100%.
Could he ever have ace king that just flatted pre?
He could. I mean, the cutoff's definitely a fishier player at the table.
I mean, or king. I mean, that would be the only two things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how king seems like he wouldn't flat it. I mean, maybe.
Someone's saying, maybe what about king 5? King 5, well, he can't have king 5 suited because the 5 of spades is out there, right?
Yeah, and I thought he would call things like king 8, but it would be king 8 suited.
Right.
Like king 8 all.
Right, because if he's got the king of spades, he can't have king X suited unless he's misreading his hand, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow,
It
that is
was
crazy.
it was baffling that he shows the king of spades and Mars.
Wow. Well, live poker is definitely live and well, but yeah, I think that's a good fold. I think working that one through for sure. Um,
So I have one more question for you.
yeah,
What do we think about the big blind jamming a straight here?
I think it's well. I mean, the guy is so short behind you, but it's having that other guy in the hand that he should have so much. I still think he should have so much. If I was sticking around with 7-6, I would not make this play from up front because somebody should have a flush here so much, even if the guy is shorter. And then if I'm up against a guy like a professional like you who's capable of making a laydown with pocket aces, I don't really see the point, you know?
Right. Yeah. I thought like it might have been good to try to target me for value, but that other guy still waited to a flush. He's kind of jamming for the same reasons I could maybe call and beat him.
I mean, I think that the whole point of this, though, too, is the stack sizes and the fact that the cutoff is so skewed towards having a non-set hand when he doesn't jam turn that you have to have seriously concern if you're the guy in the big blind. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
With
sure.
7-6. But I mean, he could still think that he has odds to peel with implied odds. You just have to know that it's more like a 6-out draw as opposed to an actual 8-out draw. But
Yeah, and he's getting a damn good price every time it rolls around when
yeah,
the cutoff calls too.
yeah. Thanks for the call, Nate. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Bart. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.